Right, hello. My name is Roger Nixon. I come from a secondary school from just outside Oxford, a place called Wheatley Park School. We've been using Google Apps for education for a number of years now, and it's very much embedded as a way that we do everything. So from documents to mail to calendar, all of those things. So about a year ago, I was quite excited that on the Google Apps Management Console, Google Plus, their social networking service, appeared as a managed service. And up until fairly recently, I've been probably amongst many teachers thinking that social media was something that was best stayed away from in school. Whereas now, it's something we're actively embracing in school, because Google Apps gives us the ability to manage social networking through Google Plus with students from year 9 upwards, so that's 13-year-olds upwards. We can turn on Google Plus in our domain and actually manage it. If you've never seen what Google Plus looks like, this is me on Google Plus. Well, that's just my home screen, and you'll notice this great big thing up here, which is our school logo. So this is a managed Google Plus account. It's not just a private one. And one of the great things about Google Apps is that as a super admin, I can sort of manage what people do on Google Plus in just the same way I can manage what they do on mail, what they do on documents, what they do on calendar, and all other aspects of Google Apps. So it gives us that sort of safety net. Now, I call this talk community learning, because one of the big aspects that we like with Google Apps and Google Plus is the ability to create what are called communities. So I'm just going to illustrate this with a couple of the communities that we've created and contrast them to another part of Google Apps. So one part of Google Apps which has been talked about so far today, probably quite a bit, is sites. And we use sites quite a lot. I'm a chemistry teacher, so this is just the front end of my A-level chemistry site. Sites are fantastic for presenting resources to students, collaborating on projects, but they're not that sort of instant ping factor that you get when you can just share an idea very spontaneously. Another good example of a Google site, and this is made by my colleague who's sitting in the front row. This is the sort of thing that you can do with Google Sites, and it's fantastic, and you can create brilliant sites for your domain. Okay? This, on the other hand, is what a Google Plus community looks like. So I've clicked on the little control thing that you'll see in Google Plus here, which has all of these options. I'll explore a couple of these options for you in a few moments, but I'll focus on communities. And in communities, what you'll see at the top are communities which I moderate personally. Now, I'm a chemistry teacher, so I moderate a chemistry community. This one here is my tutor group community. I'm a year 12 and 13 tutor, and we use this, or I use this, to communicate with my students, share ideas, have a casual chat about things. This is another one that I manage. This one is about sharing ideas about using YouTube with members of staff. One of the things we have in school is YouTube open to all students. We encourage students to have their own YouTube channel and actively encourage them to use these things in sensible ways. Okay? If I go down a little bit here, you'll find all the communities that I happen to be a member of. And there are some absolutely fabulous communities that you can get involved with on Google+. So, for example, Google Apps for Admin here. This is a brilliant community if you want to get involved with using Chromebooks on your Google Apps domain. Google Chromebook Edu is amazing. You want to know about using Google Docs and Drive and the latest things which are going on. Drive and Dock community, Chrome OS, again, if you want to look at Chromebooks. All of these communities you can join. They're free for anybody to subscribe to. However, you might notice that some of these are slightly different, because this one here and this one here, for example, have this little wheatleypark.org. That's our school domain. So these are communities which are restricted to our domain, and that's one of the important management facilities which has become available if you're on a Google Apps domain fairly recently that you can set communities up to be restricted to certain people within your domain or just open to people within your domain. So they're not public things. This is one that's going to be launched to year 11 students fairly shortly. We're opening up year Google Plus to year 11 students in the next couple of weeks. So we're setting up GCSE communities so they can contribute and share ideas pretty dynamically. I'll show you a real working community. This is my chemistry community. And when you create a community, creating a community, by the way, takes literally seconds. Unlike building a website, which might take you half an hour of thinking about what it's going to look like, you can set up a community very spontaneously, share it with people, and get collaboration, which is what Google Apps is all about, going more or less straight away. And you get this wonderful little interface, and anybody who's in my chemistry community can share some text, some photos, so they can take a photo on their smartphone of an experiment they've done in the lesson. If they've got the Google Plus app on their phone, you can turn on auto backup. That will get auto backed up into their Google Plus photos seamlessly over the wireless, and they can post it to other students to comment on fairly almost immediately, within a few minutes. You can put videos straight from your own YouTube channel or links. If I scroll down to show you some of the things that we've put on here, or I put on here, this is the sort of thing that I post. Every weekend, I do something called a Hangout on Air. And Hangouts are the instant video instant messaging part of Google Apps, and a Hangout on Air is something that is publicly broadcast. So I sit down in front of my computer and talk chemistry. It's really exciting. Chemistry is brilliant. And I talk about chemistry on air every weekend at about 11 o'clock on a Sunday, so feel free to tune in. You can also watch all this on my YouTube channel. But my students join in as well, and they can join this Hangout. And the only people who can join this Hangout are my students, because I can restrict it to members of wheatleypark.org. But anybody can watch. And this, once it's finished, is seamlessly, without me doing anything, magically saved into my YouTube channel, which I then post it, and they can look at it whenever they want. It's a resource for them to use. And they can just click on it and play. This is my living room, by the way.
I'm going to talk about some chemical kinetics.
And one of the things I do, I'll just pause it because the sound's going over it. When you're doing a Hangout, there's this really nice option in the top corner up here called screen sharing. So you can click on screen sharing. I just open up Paint on a PC, and I've got a graphics tablet, and I just write down some notes, and they can ask questions, and it's very live and dynamic. And then this is there forevermore for them to watch, and anybody else in the world who's interested in chemistry and who isn't interested in chemistry. You might notice that down the side here in my community, you can sectionalize the posts. Okay, so I've got chemical discussions, and we love to discuss chemistry, and I've got these things here, which just happen to be the modules, and that's a bit of coursework. And there's a really important section called chemistry jokes, because we always need to laugh about things as well. And there's loads of stuff on here. And you can see that students will ask questions about this. Could you use the Maxwell-Boltzmann model to compare catalysts that are placed in different temperatures? And I'm sure you all know the answer to that. Okay? So it stimulates a discussion about chemistry, or whatever subject you might be doing, in a very spontaneous way. So, for example, if I scroll down here a little bit and find one, as I say, there's a lot of stuff on here. One thing I often do is take videos of them doing experiments and post them on the community. This is something I take with my phone. I take a video of it. It's instantly uploaded. There's no wires. And then, bingo, I share it on the community, and they can talk about it and discuss it, and they see themselves on the community, and they think it's rather cool. Sometimes I just post little teasers like that. I'm sure any scientists amongst you know what's going on here. Any scientists here? No scientists. Oh no. Anyways, this was an experiment that I just filmed. I randomly put it on here, and I posted something about some prize. I didn't disclose what the prize was, and within about, I don't know, 30 seconds of me posting that on there, a student who takes chemistry, who wasn't in the class at the time, had posted back a really quite intelligent answer. She won 2 Oreos. She was quite pleased with her Oreos. So that's the subject community. It's a very dynamic way of sharing ideas, talking about your subject, sharing what's current, and doing funky stuff. If I just show you what my tutor group one looks like. This is slightly different sort of content. Again, we've got a picture. That's a picture of the moat at the school. We have a moat. We're a school with a moat, which is quite unique, I think. The sorts of things on here are general track UCAS discussions. It's a 6th form group, so we need to know about university and that sort of thing. Photos, work experience, good but serious ideas. And we've been talking about learning habits and how to start good habits, how to stop bad habits. So that's what that's all about there. And they had a sort of a university visit thing the other day, and I was asking them to sort of post what they've learned about it. So it's a reflective tool as well. So it gets them to, I get them to say, well, what did you learn about that? How did you find that particular experience? So communities are a growing thing in the school, which is why I've called this community learning. And if I just go back to all communities, this is, as I say, this one hasn't been launched to students at the moment. This is a history GCSE one, and I would say a history teacher who had no knowledge of how to make a website, who had never previously created a community, had about 5 minutes of tuition on how to make a community, and created this community ready for the launch to Year 11 in the next couple of weeks. They had all of this content on within a couple of minutes. It's really intuitive and really easy to create communities. So if I go back to all communities, I'll just show you how easy it is to create a community. You click on a big blue button that says Create Community. And because I'm in a Google Apps domain here, I've got an option to restrict it to my domain or not restricted. Not restricted means everybody in the whole world can potentially see it. This means it's just going to be the people in my school. So I'm going to pick that option. Next. And then I've got another option. I can have it open within my domain, which most of ours are, so anybody can join within my school, that domain, or private. And this is the sort of thing that might be a staff community. So perhaps the leadership group could have a community for sharing ideas. Perhaps you could have this for staff development where people post lesson observation videos. There's all sorts of possibilities. So if I create one open within that, I'll call it flippantly BETT. And then we've got this option down here. No anyone in the organization can join. So people can find it, they can join it. It's dynamic, it's open to everybody. Or I've got another option. Anybody in the domain can ask to join. So you can say, can you join it? And whoever created it can say, no, I really don't want you on it. But that's up to you. And that is how long it takes to create a community. And that's the problem with a live demo. But there we go. Reloading the web browser generally does the trick. So we've got a community there, and that's how long it takes. There is a little thing you'll get up here when it's created where you can edit that community. So you can change the picture and you can add the sections. And that's it. And you start posting it to it immediately and sharing it with people. Now I said you can manage Google+, and I'll just mention briefly a bit about managing Google+ in the Google Apps domain. This is the management console. You might have seen a few screenshots of it. This is a live management console. This is my management console. And there's loads of stuff you can do in here. But what you've got if I just go, whoops. Full screen so I can see what I'm doing. In the management console, you can manage all sorts of things like your users, your groups, and this option down here, which is the one I was trying to find, other Google services, you can turn off any Google service you want on your domain for any users, as long as you organize your users. So if I click on that option there, you'll see that all the various options appear. Google Plus is a bit further down. Things like Blogger you might want to use for blogging. But I'm thinking about Google Plus here, and there it is. And you can see that I've got it on for selected orgs. Now that's what we call organizational units, sub-organizational units, and they can be individual year groups, groups of staff, groups of students, however you want to organize it. So if I click on Google Plus, what you'll see is this little option down here. If I click on View Status for each organizational unit, my default setting for Wheatley Park is it's on, but it's off for certain year groups, because we can't have it on for year 7 and year 8, because they're not old enough. So if I scroll down here, and you'll find that students is there. And the way we organize our students is by year of entry. You might choose to organize your students however you want. So that's year 8, that's year 9, and so on. And if I pick a year group it's turned on for, this is 6th formers, you'll see that it's on there. However, we've got a little bit of a safeguard. If I click on there, there's an organization under there, so no Google Plus. These are naughty people. And if I click on that one, you'll see that it's turned off. So if somebody were to choose, we've never had anybody abuse Google Plus, by the way, ever since we've started using it. But just suppose they posted something inappropriate, or they had something inappropriate, and you wanted to turn it off, you can do that simply by moving a student from that one into that one. Google Plus is turned off. And you can do the same trick for any Google service. Okay, so within some of our sub-organizational units, we've got things like disabled chat. So we have things like instant messaging turned on by default for all students. In fact, we have pretty much every service turned on for all students by default. And we have maybe a minority who choose not to use things sensibly, and they know they'll get their service turned on and off. And managing Google Plus is as easy as managing any of the other services. So we see, just in summary, our communities very much as a very dynamic way to engage with students. So they can post ideas, we can post ideas, and we can have really quick, stimulating discussions on the fly at any time of day. They just post what they need to, and we can post stuff. And we see things like Google Sites more as a repository of ideas, where they can find things, where they can look up course material, because this takes a little bit of editing, whereas Google Plus is a really quick and dynamic thing to do. So if you've ever thought about doing some social networking within school, Google Plus is a very easy way to control social networking, social networks within school in a managed environment for 13-year-olds upwards at the moment. Okay, I think that's roughly my time, so thank you very much for listening.